Hey everyone, back again now with hopefully the right line. Sorry about the last video. I was staying on the lower kind of runoff area. Thought it was allowed for these cars. Obviously it's not because it's a runoff area. Format is going to be the same as the other videos. We're going to do just a quick walkthrough of the flying lap first. Then we're going to break it down, see where I brake and all that. And then we're going to talk racecraft in the third little section. So each section is pretty quick. There are timestamps in the description below. So let's get stuck into it. So again, as I always say, your lap begins on the previous corner. Now here, it doesn't really matter too much because you've got so much speed coming up here anyway. I brake about when the cones are about halfway on the left. I'll go into more detail there. Try to get a good wide, almost late apex here. Went onto the grass a little bit, not ideal. Brake around the 200 mark here, down to second gear, and the exit here is crucial. Some people are going to go out over that white line. That is illegal, so it will gain you time to go over that white line. But then here, just about 250 meter, third gear. I actually washed a little bit wide here, got a decent exit. Look for the 200 mark on the left hand side, brake, cut in late at the end of that curb, stay on the left hand side, keep your wheels on the left hand side of that curb. Lots of people again are going to go way off there. S-Tracker is not going to invalidate it, but I'm not going to do that in race because it's not the line for the track. So here, keep an eye on the cones on the left. There's a set of 3, set of 2, set of 1, and you want to start braking just before the set of 1. Fifth gear, turn in early here and get out of there. We'll analyze that in a little bit more detail. It happens pretty quick and it's kind of tough to do. I run slightly higher aero just to make those corners that I mentioned earlier, the ones that are actually important to stay legal. And there are faster lines, but I really don't want to race the race like that. So that's pretty much it for the lap. That was a 1:42.4. So let's jump back and let's start analyzing. So the lap is going to start right where the green is on the right hand side there. So you want to cross over the yellow lines, just kind of parallel to the cones on the left, and there's a little kink in the cones. If you see the little kink in the cones, there are a couple there. That's kind of my braking point. So you'll see here I'm coming off the throttle before the double yellow lines. Nice and wide to this white line. Again, if you go over this white line, you are probably quicker. You'll get a better run into the other side, late apex, but it's illegal. So go close to it. Again, late apex. As I say here, I went onto the grass a little bit, didn't lose too much time. You're allowed to cut a little bit here. Then your braking point is around the 200 mark here. It's 200. Down to second gear. Exit here is very, very important. You don't want to go over this white line. Again, that would be illegal. Then you're flat out here. There are signs on the right. It doesn't really matter what line you take here. You're going to be roughly as quick. You want to brake here at around the 250 mark. So 250. You see I'm braking. I'm actually braking closer to the 300. Down to third gear, and I washed wide here. Then accelerate out hard as you can, and see the signs on the left hand side of the road. You want to brake at around the 200, which is about kind of when the nose cone is just under that curb. You late apex it here. See the curb has just at the end of the curb. That's where you want to be going as close as possible. And you don't want to go over this yellow. Again, if you go over the yellow, it's way quicker. You'll get half a second easy, but that's not the line. On these banked sections, you can actually, if you go up high on the early section and then drop down when your car starts to kind of plateau when it comes to acceleration. You get a little boost of acceleration. If you get that right, it can be very beneficial. So as I say, 3 cones on the left, 2 cones on the left, 1 cone. When I'm at the 2 cones on the left, that's when I kind of start to turn in. And just before the 1 cone, I point straight at that apex, the start of the chicane, brake a little bit down to 5th, and then turn back to the right. So as soon as you turn in to the right, you want to keep the steering wheel there. Keep it there, keep it there, keep it there. And you're actually cutting a little bit of every bit of the chicane, especially the last bit here. Tiny bit of grass won't slow you down. Get up onto the bank, and as soon as the acceleration starts plateauing, drop down. I could actually do a more graduated drop down when I get a little bit higher there. Probably get me a bit more time. And that's about it for the lap. Now let's get into the third section, which is the actual racecraft side of things, because most people are running a very low aero setup, and I think that that's actually not the right way to go. I think tires are going to start wearing, especially when you're battling. You need to be super careful. You need to have a little bit of control. I've got a bit of aero on my machine, so I'll show you how I am going to race the race. Here we'll get to the start. So I think it's actually, this is the start of the lap, I think it's actually vitally important to have some aero here. Helps you under braking, helps you in turn in, and especially if somebody gets a little bit loose, which is definitely going to happen, having a bit of aero allows me to get around them in all of these corners. I don't think anybody's really going to pass you in a lot of these corners. They might dive up the inside or whatever, but exits out of corners are really, really important. People are definitely going to pass you in your slipstream on the banked sections. I am kind of taking a gamble there because having slightly higher aero is going to slow me down for sure. I think that consistency is going to really win the race. You don't want to get damage here because you'll be absolutely screwed. Again, people are going to come really fast out of here. I personally, I don't like filing reports and stuff like that, but if people do go outside the track limits, you can report them. I think, yeah, the banked section, so the flat section is illegal. The banked section is going to be where the race is going to be won and lost. If you can get up behind someone, low aero, high aero, it doesn't matter, you're definitely going to get past them on the banked section. So defense is the name of the game. You need to really, really have your defense game on. The best way to defend is to obviously stay as low as you can, but as soon as somebody does pass you, get right behind them, because it'll take a couple of seconds for you to actually start benefiting from their draft, and then you can actually out accelerate them again. So there's going to be a lot of kind of swapping in this race. It's going to be very interesting whether you're low aero or higher aero, I think. So that's about it. Hopefully that was somewhat beneficial for you guys. It's a bit late in the evening here, and I already did another video, but the line was wrong. Hopefully I've got everything that I put into that video in this video, but give me some feedback, send me some messages. People tend to watch these, people tend to like them. Even people that aren't in the league that I'm in are kind of sending me messages asking me for setup tips and stuff like that. There's a link to my setup in the description below, and hopefully it helps you guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and I'll see you next week. Bye.